Back to the basics. Sunglasses, check. Hat, check. Notes, check. Pepsi, check. Sources, check. And thick skin, check. Let's go. Welcome to Go to Blue, everybody. If you're a college football fan, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. We are on our way to 10,000 subscribers. Just a little over 300 to go. So help us get to that 10,000 subscriber mark. And we know how rivalries go. If you're a fan of any team, you have some sort of rivalry. I'm a West Virginia fan. Our rivalry is with Pitt. And it's a very, very intense rivalry. I'm looking forward to going to the Backyard Brawl this year. I'm going to be there in person. The Backyard Brawl hasn't been played in over 10 years, which is a shame. It should be played every year. But I'm excited. It's a rivalry. It's going to be awesome. By the way, I found out today from my brother, the Backyard Brawl is now selling standing room only tickets. The Backyard Brawl is officially sold out. But some rivalries take it beyond that. They take everything personal about the other rivalry. They hate their rivals so much that they cannot stand to be around them. And the rivalry that I'm talking about today is Texas A&M and Texas. This is a much more intense rivalry than what I even realized. I thought Texas' biggest rival was actually Oklahoma. I think I've changed my mind. I think their biggest rival is Texas A&M, and I think Texas A&M biggest rival definitely Texas. A lot of people don't know this, but Texas A&M is actually the institution that started the whole horns down thing. We all do it today. I mean, it's fun to do because Texas gets mad at it, but Texas A&M started it. And do you know why there's a hook 'em anyways? Because Texas was jealous of Texas A&M's gig 'em sign. Yeah, that's right. The hook 'em was created because Texas A&M already had a sign, the gig 'em sign, and Texas was jealous. And so then Texas A&M turned around and said, oh, you're going to make a hand signal because we have a hand signal. Well, we're just going to turn it upside down. There's your disrespect. Yeah, this started early, and hand signals are involved. And it goes beyond horns down, if you know what I'm talking about. So it's well documented that one of the biggest reasons why Texas A&M left the Big 12 and went on to the SEC was because of Texas. They were sick of the Texas bully mentality. They were sick of the Longhorn Network. Texas was the main reason why Texas A&M left the Big 12 for the SEC. Sure, it was a little bit better money, but as far as the conference goes, Texas A&M would have preferred to be in the Big 12 if it wasn't for Texas. So that was the main reason why Texas A&M left the Big 12 in the first place and went to the SEC. It's also the same reason why the SEC didn't tell any of their members until it was about time to vote that, hey, we're going after Texas and Oklahoma. It's going to be time to vote here in a couple weeks. The SEC, ESPN, Texas, and Oklahoma knew that this was going to happen about 6 to 8 months before the deal actually went down. But they didn't want to tell anybody because of Texas A&M. They didn't want Texas A&M until it was basically too late to do anything about it because they were scared that Texas A&M was going to start an uproar because that's how much Texas A&M doesn't like Texas. They're okay with Oklahoma coming into the SEC, but they are most definitely not okay with Texas coming into the SEC. And that's why the SEC waited till the last moment to tell anybody. That way Texas A&M couldn't say that the SEC singled them out. They were just part of the entire group. It was kept in the dark until about the last second. Yeah, the SEC was concerned that Texas A&M might try to start something, cause an uproar, and try to squash the deal. That's why they waited till the last second. That's how intense this rivalry is. Now, what I'm hearing from these fan bases, I'm not saying this is true, not at all. This is strictly for entertainment purposes. It's fun to talk about. I like talking about stuff like this. So do not take this stuff as fact. But what I'm hearing from both Texas and Texas A&M fan bases is that Texas A&M is extremely upset, mad, angry, whatever negative emotion you want to throw in there, that Texas is coming into the SEC. So much so that they could think about leaving the SEC. Oh man, I never in a million years did I think that would even get suggested. Do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not. But I also thought that wouldn't even be brought up. Like that blows my mind. You actually want to leave the SEC, one of the best conferences in the nation, just because your rival Texas is coming in? You're probably not going to end up leaving, but you want to. You're actually thinking about it. That's how much they hate Texas. Texas A&M social media, Twitter, fan base groups, all that stuff. They really would think about leaving the SEC because they hate Texas that much. They're scared that Texas is going to come in, throw their weight around, and start trying to pull the strings just like they did in the Big 12. If, and this is a big if, it's not going to happen. I do not think this is going to happen, but if it did happen and Texas A&M left the SEC, the Big Ten could be an option, and you better believe that the Big Ten would most definitely take Texas A&M. They definitely have the academics. I actually looked it up last night. They have great academics. And of course, they have one of the best brands in the nation right now. They have a great football facility and stadium, fan atmosphere, all that stuff. They bring in a crap ton of revenue. Texas A&M would actually fit into the Big Ten quite perfectly, and that would stretch the Big Ten's footprint down south to Texas. They've already proven that geography doesn't matter. They grabbed USC and UCLA out of the Pac-12, so grabbing Texas A&M out of the state of Texas, no big deal. Would they need another member to come in with Texas A&M? Possibly, but you could single out maybe an Oregon or a Washington or a Notre Dame or a Stanford. I don't know. There's a lot of great brands out there to choose from. But Texas A&M would immediately be the top brand if they decided they want to leave the SEC. The Big Ten would most definitely pursue them. So that would be a great landing spot for Texas A&M if they did decide to leave the SEC. And remember, the SEC is just now about to renew their TV deal, same with the Big Ten. So if there were a time for a team to make a big-time crazy move like this, now would be the time. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Don't even go there. I'm not saying it. I do not think this is going to happen. Not at all. But I'm saying, if it were to happen, this would be the perfect time for somebody to pull a stunt like this. And who knows, maybe Texas A&M does hate Texas that much that they would be willing to pull a crazy stunt like that. I don't know. What about the Big 12? Going back to the Big 12, would that be an option? Possibly, but that is a step down. You wouldn't be getting the TV revenue. However, Texas A&M would probably have the most control out of anybody, the biggest brand, the most revenue. They'd be able to pull the strings, and they'd probably be able to dominate the conference most of the time. I just think the money gap would be way too much for Texas A&M to consider the Big 12. I think that would be off the table. If Texas A&M were to pull this crazy move and leave the SEC, I don't think they're going to the Big 12. I think they would go to the Big 10. If this were to happen, think about it like this, and I'm going to say it for the 100th time. I don't think it's going to happen, but think about it like this. Texas A&M would have nothing to lose by doing this. Oh, but going to Blue, they would be leaving the SEC. That's true. But if they knew that they would be immediately picked up by the Big Ten, and the Big Ten can match the money, maybe even go past the money, number one, you're not taking a hit on your revenue. Number two, you're staying away from Texas, which is what I'm hearing Texas A&M wants to do. They want to stay away from Texas. And number three, you would actually be asserting your power, showing the SEC, hey, this is what you get when you go against Texas A&M's wishes. I'm just saying, if this were to happen, Texas A&M wouldn't have anything to lose. And it would be right when TV media deal negotiations are going on, so there wouldn't be any penalty in leaving the SEC either. Think about it. I mean, just think about it. I don't think this is going to happen, but Texas A&M wouldn't have anything to lose. What about the other option? Could Texas actually force Texas A&M out of the SEC? No, absolutely not. That could not happen. But if it did, wouldn't that be crazy as well? Now, if, this is a big if, like I've said many times in this video, I don't see this happening, but if this scenario happened and it came down to Texas A&M saying, it's either us or Texas, who's it going to be? What a decision the SEC would have to make, because both of them are great brands. I do think Texas is a little bit more valuable than Texas A&M, but still, that would be a tough decision for the SEC. I don't think it's going to come down to that. I don't think Texas A&M is going to leave the SEC, but man, what a wild and crazy rumor that's going around that Texas A&M is so mad that Texas is coming to the SEC that they're actually thinking about possibly leaving the SEC. Now that's a crazy one right there. Y'all let me know in the comments section, do you think there's a 0.00001% chance of this ever happening? I don't think so, but maybe you do. And is there some other stuff you've been hearing about this rivalry and how it's going to affect the SEC? I'll look forward to your comments on this one. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.